Let me ask you, what happens when God steps into your midnight? Darkness must bow, of course. The Bible said in Micah 7 verse 8, it said, when I fall, I shall arise. And when I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light. Now, this testimony proves that his light never fails. I appreciate this. If you can subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification button and like this video so more people can see this testimony. God bless you as you do that. Let's get to the video.
Streams of joy, what God cannot do. What God cannot do. Does not exist. My name is Ifoma, so I've come all the way from the UK to give this testimony. This is just me fulfilling a vow that I made to God in January when I told him I was going to come to Streams of Joy. First, I said to him I was going to give a testimony at the conference, but he didn't answer. And then when I told him I was going to come here physically to give this testimony, I got the call I was waiting for within split seconds. Wow. So I'm just going to start. I joined Streams of Joy in 2021. Thank you, Jessica. I know you're watching. Thank you for sending me the link. And I got this link when I was at my lowest. At that point, I was praying for my 40th birthday, and then I had COVID. So instead of having a birthday party, I was quarantined at home, doing my 40th in that state. But something happened to me, because people always say the first time they got the link, they said it was too noisy. But at that point, I was looking for a connection with God. And when I got the link, I was like, this is what I've been looking for. And I have stayed glued. Now, shortly after that, I had an encounter with the Holy Spirit, where the Holy Spirit, because I was seeking his face about a lot of things, and he told me that I should take a leap of faith. And then I should trust him. In fact, he said, put all your eggs in my basket. And so I said I was going to do it. And I literally saw myself walking off a cliff, and I didn't fall. And so I was just walking with God. I was here in Nigeria, I was successful, but I was used to doing things myself. So I changed it to walking with God and just letting God lead. Shortly after that, God put it in my spirit, led me, and said I should relocate with my family. I didn't even think it was possible, but as he spoke to me, he spoke to my husband, because I thought I was going to have a hard job convincing him. But he came to me and said, I think we should relocate. We went to the UK, and to be honest, it has been grace all the way. You're looking at someone that God has helped. It has been from one breakthrough to another, from one unbelievable job to another. And even when I think I've seen it all, God just shocks me the more. Wow. Now, getting to the UK, I left Nigeria as a practicing pharmacist, and I got there. So there were so many options, and people were saying so many things. But then I was like the verdict of a Roy. And so I kept asking him, what do you want me to do? And he led me into a niche. And now what he has done is, NSPPD has helped me transform my life. I've gone from someone that can't pray for more than 10 minutes. Or if I come for service, I'm timing them. If they spend any extra time, I'm upset. Now I literally live in the presence of God. Wow. I've gone from someone who could not fast. I used to tell myself I had ulcer symptoms. But for the first time, I did 6 to 6 on NSPPD in 2022 for the year beginning fast. And right now, I can count the numbers of days I don't fast. Fasting is now a way of life for me. If you tell me I fast just for the sake of fasting, I don't need to have a reason to fast. And I've never had any problems with my tummy ever since then. Even the ulcer symptoms I thought I was having, it was obviously in my imagination. Now, it wasn't just for me, because immediately after I went to the UK, 4 of my siblings moved. At the same time, supernatural marital breakthroughs. Shortly after, multiple, not one. Wow. And it wasn't just for me, because I said to God, I really want to work for you. And then he gave me a niche where I could work for him. So I have people, because of the kind of testimonies that God has given me, kind of career breakthroughs. People send people to me for me to coach and mentor them to help them get a job. And I don't charge them for it, but I use that as a way to evangelize. I use that as a way to lead them to Christ. And I always tell them, see, this thing you're seeing is not me, it's God. Do you know Jesus? And I'll tell them, see where I found my source, NSPPD, come and join there. So it has been awesome. I've had multiple people having career breakthroughs, visa breakthroughs, and the people are realizing you don't have to settle for less. It's not only care, there are many other ways you can get a job. Now, to the one that brought me here. So most people, when they go to the UK and they do a master's, my husband went to do a program like that, they finish and they can't get a job in what they've studied, and they have to settle for less. But my husband got a job as a biomedical scientist, and naturally we thought we were going to get visa sponsorship through him. But getting to the end of last year, that nothing was coming forth. And at some point, I had to start looking. One of my fears was that because I knew the job I was doing, God literally handed me that job. And I didn't want to leave a job that God had given me for something I wasn't sure. So I said, God, show me what you want me to do. And then he was giving me guidance. He was saying, do this, and I was doing. Now, this year, because our visa was to expire on the 21st of February, 2025. And then January, I had 4 interviews. People were calling me to say, Ifeoma, what are you doing? Your visa is expiring. What is the plan B? I told them I had 4 interviews. They said, these things are not sure. What is your plan B? I said, I don't have any plan B. God is my plan A, plan B, all the plans. And someone told me it doesn't make sense. I said to God, did you hear them? Sure. They are challenging you. Show them that it makes sense. Someone asked me, what if these interviews don't work? This is a risky thing that you're doing. Are you ready for the eventuality of going back to Nigeria to start again? I said, look, if that is what happens, then I am ready for it. But I know that the God that spoke to me and asked me to come to the UK and has done this wonders that receives only glory would not let me be put to shame. So I stood firm. People called me to say, in fact, this job you want to get, there's so many obstacles, but I just, believed God. Now, I did the interviews and God told me I wasn't good. All of them, I was going to be successful. First 2 feedback, oh, you were wonderful. They put me on reserve. I needed a job right now. The third one gave me an offer. They were slowing down on visa sponsorship. And I was like, this is what I need. I don't need a job. I had a very good job that I didn't want to leave. And so one thing that has really helped me since I joined NSPPD is see the midweek service. Anyone that doesn't join the midweek service, you need to rethink that. I've been getting my Rema word from the midweek service. And that period, Pastor Jerry was doing a series on how to receive from God. And that particular Thursday, he was saying, if you've done everything he has talked about and you still haven't gotten your evidence, what is the next thing to do? He then said, the Lord says, remember what I said to you. And at that moment, it seemed like scales fell off my eyes. Suddenly, I remember 2 prophecies that I had noted and written down from NSPPD. The first one was last year. Pastor Jerry said, I wrote it down somewhere, but I just can't find it for some reasons. He said, something is going to happen in your life on 3 dates. He mentioned the 3 dates. He said, the first 2 are not for you. It's the one on the 22nd. And immediately, it just dawned on me. This 4th interview that I did, I'm waiting for a feedback. I did this interview on the 22nd of January. And then the second thing struck me. It was a word that Pastor Jerry gave. I think it was during the year beginning fast, where he said, you will get 2 calls of congratulations. The first one is not yours, it's the second one. Mind you, I had gotten the first call of congratulations. I was waiting for visa sponsorship and it wasn't forthcoming. And immediately, I just knew. The joy in my heart that day was palpable. And then I had my network of people that, were praying with me and were always checking in. I told them that day, you see tomorrow, Friday, before 6 p.m. Nigerian time, I am going to have my offer. They were just looking like, okay, they believe me. They know the kind of faith I was working with. So they keyed in and they were like, yeah, they believed it for me. And that's whole period. And that's another thing God has done for me. I've gone from someone who cannot even say a thing. I've gone from someone who woke up one day and heard a voice saying to me, you're sleeping and your son is about to die. And I woke up and I couldn't do anything. And my son died before the end of that day. I didn't know I could put my hand on the floor and command the earth not to receive my son. But then I turned to someone that every day I would, in fact, at the point, my friends were like, they would look forward to Friday because every Friday I give a word and it comes to pass. And I said, by the end of that day, I would get the offer. So I got the offer. Before, in fact, it was an email. I was refreshing my email. Meanwhile, the guy called me. I remember I was saying that I didn't want to leave a job God has given me for a job I wasn't sure of. So I wanted God to help me know if this was the job. And he gave me a sign. The exact same thing that happened with the last job I had was what happened. Instead of sending an email, he called me on Friday. And he said, Ifeoma, I've got good news. You were fantastic. We loved you. We want to offer you the job. That I know that they may not send the offer on time, but I don't want you to worry through the weekend. That's why I decided to give you a call. And this was exactly the same thing that happened in my previous job. Immediately, I knew that this was the job that God has kept for me. And they gave me the offer. But now the problem was this. This particular job, they needed to do some checks. And sometimes it takes it could take 3 to 6 months. And they were going to give me visa sponsorship, but they needed me to have a valid visa to do it. I didn't have it. I just went back to Ero. I said, what you have started, you're surely able to complete it. And in that time, Pastor Jerry kept giving words of affirmation, and I was receiving it with faith. And on 19th of February, 2 days to the expiration of our visa, I just got the email in capital letters. Anybody that is used to the UK, you will know that when you see capital letters, they tell you you're shouting. They don't use capital letters, but they wrote it in capital letters. Urgent visa sponsorship for Ifeoma Ezekaka, and I got my COS. So that is certificate of sponsorship. That is what they'll give to you that you would use in applying for your visa. So I did a visa application. Immediately I bought the ticket to come I was supposed to come in February. I bought this ticket immediately to come and give the testimony as I promised God. But then the visa took some time to come out. Now, it took from February all the way to June before they finished these checks. Tell me what I would have been doing within that time. And then the most amazing part, because I said to God, I don't want to stay a day without income. It's your work I'm doing. And that was exactly what happened. The job people were calling me to say, oh, most people, when you tell your people that you've gotten a job, they will ask you to go. Instead of them to ask me to go in the job I was doing, they kept asking me, Ifeoma, how much time do you have? How much more time do you have with us? Oh, we have a project for you. Yeah. And the people in my team were wondering, why are they giving Ifeoma a project? We are here, give us projects. You have other project managers. But they kept... Even when after 3 months, I said, look, it's been 3 months. I can't carry on working here full time because I'm on another company's visa. They said, don't worry, move to part time. Don't stop. I did not go 1 day without an income. Roy did it. And eventually, when they finished the checks, everyone said you have to wait for 1 month. That is the routine thing in that sector. But they called me. They said, Ifeoma, can you start immediately? God broke every protocol. Everything people told me was not possible. In fact, someone called me one day, put me on a 3-way call, and was like, oh, this person, the same thing happened to the cousin. He got a job with this same sector and had to travel back to Nigeria. And I was saying, that's not my case. I wasn't saying it to them. I was saying, that's not my case. Roy, come and answer them. And here I am. I've started the job. And all the time I was waiting, I was praying for this job. The job has been fantastic. And then the big one, I started this job on the 18th of June 2025, and out of nowhere, without any plans, all I know is that I wrote that I wanted to leave. I wanted to end 2025 in my house and not a tenant, but God brought it forward. On the 18th of September 2025, I collected the keys to my family's own home.
Wow!
And this was. So that is me rolling on the floor in my garden, because I told Roy, when you do it, I will roll for you, I will roll. And this was off the prophecies Pastor Jerry was giving, where he was saying a family will receive. He kept saying it, a family will receive their house in September. And I kept holding on to it. I'm just here. It's not just me. There's so many testimonies. People have sent me. They've been saying, Ifeoma, please share my testimony. There's no time. But I know that Roy that sees knows that I've come here with a catalog of testimonies. I just want to say thank you to this God that has been faithful. Thank you, Roy. Thank you. And thank you, Pastor Jerry, for what you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. That you can take someone from being a powerless Christian to being able to stand in the gap for others, to being able to stand in faith. I just want to thank God for the life of Pastor Jerry. You will not fail, you will not falter. And your generations unborn will reap of this good work. What God cannot do, does.
Wow. This is a proof that God is still moving in power, still rewriting lives, and still showing mercy. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification button so you will get notified whenever we post amazing testimonies like this. God bless you as you do that. I will see you again, definitely.